I've helped manage an IT help desk. I've helped run a SOC. What we're talking about today would have made my day to day so much easier way back when. And if that piques your interest, join us today on Tanium Tech Talks. Welcome back, Tanium Tech Talkers. Tanium AI Agent for ServiceNow brings real-time endpoint intelligence straight into the workflows of our help desk lives in every way. In this episode, we break down how Tanium's AI Agent for ServiceNow analyzes new incidents, surfaces trustworthy diagnostics, and it accelerates troubleshooting without requiring admins to pivot between tools. As always, please welcome my wonderful co-host, Jesh Sachs.
Alex, thank you so much. As always, it is lovely to be here. And today we are here with Saqib Khan. Before I let him introduce himself, I do want to take a quick moment to say everything single ServiceNow question I have ends up with Saqib answering it. He is the man who knows almost everything. So I'm so excited that we've got him here to talk to us about this amazing agent that we have with ServiceNow and Tanium. So Saqib, go ahead, introduce yourself.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. My name is Saqib Khan. A lot of people get that wrong, but thank you for getting it right, which is great. I'm very excited because, I've been here for 5 years, and at Tanium, we have done something very, very unique that I think the market and all the industries really need. To Alex's point, it's something that if I had, when I was a support engineer or a support person in my previous roles, my life would just been so much easier. So I'm excited to share that with you all. And let's get this started.
Saqib, thanks so much. I am so excited to be able to show this new agent and all the different features off. We got a little bit of a preview as we were getting ready for this episode, and I can only say it blew my mind. So, talk to me. What do we have here, and how is it making our lives easier?
Okay, so the way I thought this would be a great collateral and content for everyone out there is thinking through the mindset of support, mindset of IT operations, the mindset of the CIO, the CISO, right? It directly impacts everyone because what we're seeing now is this influx of AI everywhere. But what we're not seeing is a value coming out from it. And this is a direct hit to that, which is value out of the gate. So as a support person, when I'm looking at incidents, when I'm seeing things come in throughout the day, every hour, I get tens and tens of incidents from different parts of the world. I have problems going on in these machines. I have problems going on with my people, internal, maybe external. And these machines that they're using, they're all across the globe. And I need to figure out how to solve this problem that they're having, let alone figure out the tens and hundreds of problems during the day. I need to do that efficiently. It takes time for me to log on, contact someone, and be able to pivot from that to actually diagnosing the issue, let alone fixing the issue. Finally, if I come to a root cause, guess what happens, Josh? I am able to now assume that there is a root cause because I see logs with evidence, but I haven't confirmed it yet. I haven't fully understood 100% that this is actually the root cause. Now I have to spend time validating it. And then, Alex, going back to our days in support, like think back. If one computer has this issue and it's a common issue, how many more computers can have the same issue at the exact same time? What stops me from preventing those issues from the 100 other customers or people at the exact same time? Because likely they're going to have the same exact patterns. So those are all the challenges that we struggled with as support people, IT operations people, and even security people in the moments that matter. And that's what we're trying to solve with this Tanium AI agent for ServiceNow.
Yeah, already it's really exciting to me. I see this already one of our keywords, right, is agentic triage, which gets the help desk person in me pretty elated, right? But I'm seeing things, real-time trustworthy endpoint intelligence, agentic triage, AI-generated remediation guidance, things that would have sped up my life it would have made life so much less stressful for me back in the day, right? And even you mentioned how do we make sure that we're essentially not just fixing something one time and then again and then again and again. Because there were times where I had to walk to different buildings in order to fix certain things that were having issues. And this would have saved me a lot of steps and a lot of hours.
I'll even jump in here and add that same point of like, I fix this on one person's computer, but I can guarantee the same application probably having the same interaction, hundreds of different spaces. How can I find it? How can I fix it? Um, and even getting to the point of finding out what's happening, may have to walk to a computer, you may have to grab logs, you have to get out of your desk, you have to move around. We're wasting so much time, and so as we've been having this kind of prep stuff, Saqib, I've heard you talk about we stay in an interface, one interface, no getting up from your desk, no switching between tools. That seems like it's going to streamline a lot. So, starting with the nuts and bolts, how does Tanium get the right data to ServiceNow? What does it even matter that we've got Tanium working with ServiceNow in this whole workflow?
Yeah, so let's unpack. We know the problem that we're trying to solve, which is this issue around the time it takes to resolve an incident. But even more tactical than that, it's the type of things that take a lot of time, which is investigations, which is root cause determination, proof and evidence of the problem, and then going and fixing it and then doing it at scale. So why is this coming out from Tanium? I mean, Tanium is not a service desk tool. It's considered a platform, and the platform of IT security and risk. They use it for two good reasons. One, that if you look at my screen, Tanium is able to now interact with your environment. Tell me exactly what software is on Windows servers out there. Just imagine a Google search that allows you to get whatever you want at scale in seconds, regardless of how large you are, right? We all know this about Tanium, most of us, and we all know that it can query at scale. Now, query at scale is not the reason why we did this. It's one of the reasons, but it's really the ability to combine query at scale with action at scale. Just the way it asks the question, it can also deploy actions and fix the problem. So when you have an agent, when you have a platform that does that at scale across the fleet in seconds, I mean, it impacts everything. It impacts the service desk, it impacts operations, it impacts security. Because now you have a source of truth that's not only telling you the truth, but it's confirming and validating the truth. And it's also allowing you to act on that truth so you can get things done quicker. You don't have to spend 30 minutes to investigate. So I'm not going to go into Tanium too much because I think we all know what Tanium does. But what I want to focus in on is showing you exactly what that means for ServiceNow. 5 years ago, we took everything Tanium did, literally end to end, as best as we could, and threw it into ServiceNow and said, let's do real-time, runtime, everything ServiceNow. And we created all these amazing integrations from CMDB to hardware asset management, software asset management, reclaiming unused software, patching through ServiceNow changes, being able to understand what vulnerabilities are out there and being able to patch those without even a human being present. And that level of automation in ServiceNow allowed everybody to now fast track remediation, prevent exposure, and be able to pivot from that to getting predictive. And you know, ServiceNow introduced something really unique. And you know, going back to what you were saying earlier, Josh, just imagine in your role back in the day what the impact would have been when you already knew what to work on, but half the work was already done. I want you to share an example too, because I think looking back at device performance issues we were talking about earlier, what's your take on that? If I took away 90% of that process, Josh, what would that mean for you as a support person?
Oh my gosh, so many fewer headaches, for one, I think, but then also I can get through so much more in a day. Like we're able to triage tickets just that much faster. Like if 90% of that hard work is done for me, I'm excited. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and so let's look at that scenario. Let's look at a computer here, right? Really quickly before we pivot into the AI workflow. This is a computer that is syncing into the ServiceNow CMDB. It's a server, right? It's got information on it. And there's a lot of information here that's useful. Network adapters, serial numbers, software installed, storage devices. It's great. It's a static snapshot of that one computer and server. A lot of CMDB administrators love the fact that we can keep updating this every 10 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 1 minute. That's no problem for Tanium. Because guess what? Tanium is finding this truth all day long in Tanium. So we are the only source of truth that can keep it up to date all day long with accuracy, integrity, and the ability to confirm and validate in real time this is actually the truth. So why that matters is that when you pivot from this to managing this computer as an IT operations person or a service desk person, as a assistant to you, giving you the control on your computer, with your laptop or whatever that you're using to manage this computer in ServiceNow, you have access to checking out the computer exactly how it is right now in a live environment. Now, this is me actually working in a portal, right? Me looking at CPU, RAM, disk, process, services, etc. What this is the precursor to autonomous IT. And I'm going to show you autonomous IT in just a sec. But I want you to see the amount of information and the type of information at runtime that matters in situations like incidents and problems. I can query for stuff. I can run queries. I can figure out BitLocker details. I can deploy packages. I can deploy software. If there's an application crash, I will see it and I will be able to pivot from that to fixing it directly as a person by clicking a few things in the ServiceNow portal using Tanium. Now, of course, as a service desk person and operations person, how easy would this be, Alex, right? If you had this back in the day as a simple one-stop shop portal.
It would have been absolutely fantastic. Now, it has been a long time since I've been in that role, but the expectation was like if you can't figure it out over the wire, like walk over there and take care of it, right? So there was a lot of me trying to figure out how to script, how to gather information, how to do a lot of the stuff that the reason Tanium blew my mind the first time I saw it, right? But having such quick access to it from one, ServiceNow instance like this, oh my gosh, I wouldn't yeah, it's a force multiplier, right? I would be so much more efficient.
Right. I mean, look, you're not only taking away time from your regular process, you're also saving time for your customer that you're servicing. And I think that's where we start to look at what service management really means in the world of AI. Now, I'm servicing, the as an IT person, the entire organization, and I want to get to resolution as fast as I can. So my customer satisfaction is high. And in the real world, because CSAT scores out there that a lot of CIOs out there measure and CTOs, customer officers, etc. They are targeting a number, but as IT people, what we're targeting is the human experience. So I want that experience as the human being serviced to be perfect. I don't want them to even know that they have a problem in the perfect world. I just want to solve the issue before it becomes an issue. So let's actually walk through a scenario. Josh, I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell me a situation that you found so frustrating on a computer that took you forever to resolve. Just one incident that you want to test out.
Oh my goodness. You know, it may be kind of boring, but I feel like the hardest ones are the vague ones when someone says my computer's slow. It happens every day around the same time, but I don't know why. But they don't give me details. I don't know if it's their CPU issues. I don't know if it's memory. I don't know what's happening. It's just, oh, it's slow.
Okay, I'm gonna literally type that in. Just for
Beautiful.
giggles, we're gonna put in I don't know why either. Now this is not a fake environment, by the way. This is a real ServiceNow environment with the real 1,500 machines that are synced to it. As of right now, they're live in Tanium as well. We're managing them with Tanium agents, and we have the Tanium AI agent installed in the ServiceNow instance. So pay attention to the right side of the screen because that's where all the magic will happen. But in the middle of the screen, what I'm doing right now is actually setting up the incident. We don't know why, but this problem is occurring on this machine. Let's go pick a random machine here. I'll pick number 4. So before we do it, let's see what it is. It is a computer that has Windows on it, of course. It's Windows 10 Education. Um, okay, it's from our live environment. Great. And it was last synced today. Great. Okay, cool. So it's live. It's not like it's fake or anything. Here's an IP address. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and assign this ticket to ourselves because we're the resolvers here, right? We're the incident management. Now, this thing can come from anywhere. It can come from a monitoring tool as, a detection, for example. Tanium also detects anomalies in the environment. So if your computer is going slow, well, we'll performance detect and send events to ServiceNow, just like any other tool out there. But that could create an incident. So this is me actually creating it manually. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now, watch what happens on the right side of the screen. You see that thing that just popped up, Alex, right? So
Mhm.
normally you would be actually getting this incident as a service desk person, and you'd be going here and saying, "Oh my God, what's going on? I gotta figure this out. I gotta call this person. When are they available? Blah blah blah." Right? And that's fine. Like that doesn't really change as much. It just gets shorter. And so what we want to do is when we do call that person, we want to tell them it's fixed, not the fact that they have a problem. Um, so let's go ahead and click that. Now, Alex, going back to your days, you remember when you had to do this, right? And you had to open this incident. When, how much time did you spend trying to remote into a machine?
It was a crapshoot, Saqib. It was hopefully this setting is correctly set so that I can actually remote in, and if that's not, hopefully I can RDP in, and if that works, hopefully the individual doesn't think someone's breaking into their machine and denies me. Like it was a whole thing, and then trying to call them and be like, "Hey, is now a good time?" Oh, it's not a good time. It was kind of a nightmare, right? You never knew what you were gonna get.
Okay, stop right there. You took 25 seconds to respond to me. In 25 seconds, Alex and Jesh, I've already connected to the machine. I've literally checked every single process, CPU, reboot time, who's last logged in, services that are running. I've even given you a summary of exactly what's notable in the current state. Connected to the machine live with evidence. No static snapshot, no server, no database, directly from the machine. 25 seconds it took, right? Now, I've been talking for 10 seconds, maybe 15, maybe 30. I've already collected the first top 3 or 4 things that are causing performance issues on this machine. Now, this is not made up or some AI or LLM trying to figure out, oh, what could potentially be wrong with this? And I'm going to assume that it's wrong. No, this is live from that machine. This is literally running command line sensors from Tanium on the machine, coming back with live answers. Now, it's not going to stop until it gets to a 100% confidence level that it either is high confidence, low confidence, or medium confidence based on the type of data it gets live from the machine. So what that means is reasoning here is the real AI. And reasoning with live telemetry is what makes this thing so great. Just imagine you're sitting in front of another AI agent, but it's not connected to a live environment. What it's doing is giving you high level assumptions that this may be the issue because I think I'm a smart person in this domain of IT, but I'm not really sure. So go figure it out. How useful is that? So, Josh, when I say like live telemetry, it's literally running command line parameters on these machines and figuring out exactly what it finds from the machine, from the logs, from the different diagnostic questions. And it goes to a point where it actually gives you a full-blown summary of exactly what happened. Now, look at this. Root cause analysis. How long would it take Josh to do a root cause analysis in the real world?
Oh my goodness. It so long, hours maybe, especially with such a vague, I don't know what, but it's slow. Like this thing has checked so many different things, CPU, memory, reboot, uptime, what's processes are doing what. Um, all of the things that it would take to what our point we were discussing earlier, like without Tanium plus ServiceNow, this would take me potentially hours to go out and actually find that information and then pull it back and analyze and make those decisions. And this AI here just getting it real time intel straight from Tanium, translating it. Oh my gosh, beautiful.
And confidence is important, right? Like, what if you actually did get pretty good information? Now you're thinking about it, Josh. You're thinking about, am I confident enough that I can offer up a fix
Mm.
here? Like, how will I know that this is going to work or fix the issue? How am I actually going to figure that out before I tell the customer that, by the way, I need to restart your computer? So, so there's a lot of things that a human does today that are high level assumptions that are non-evidence based and somewhat of a risk to the customer. Either they're gonna experience a bad experience when they reboot the machine and it still has the same problem, or you do the fix and guess what? It just doesn't work, right? And it doesn't work in the sense that it makes it worse because you tried something that was causing a fix to go in and it cause more problems than you need it. So what this does is that it doesn't assume things. This agent will go out there and figure out a root cause based on live data, data-driven decisions, and evidence from the actual environment and machine. And then it gives you a high confidence score, meaning that this confidence is based off of data that it collected over time in the incident. And it did that over a lot of different questions, not just one question. It said, hey, you know what? I found out that this computer has been running long without a reboot. And maybe there's processes that have been running a long time with that uptime. That's one point of context. Okay, so we got that. Then it also asked about performance issues on top consuming processes overall, right? And so it kind of connects the dots. And then it gets to a root cause with everything as one big context for it. And eventually getting to a high confidence level. That's what we saw later. So when you think about that, it saves an average person over 30 minutes of investigation at minimum, and it does that within 2 minutes or less, live from the machines. No remote desktop, no user interaction at this point. So,
This,
Alex, go ahead, Jesh.
I was just gonna say, this is so amazing because I think of it even from the user perspective, right? Of no matter how much we like to think of ourselves as tech people being very data driven, very often even the best of us are like, oh, this thing has been up for more than 30 days. I'm not checking further. Go ahead and reboot it. See what happens. And all of a sudden now that doesn't fix it. 2, 3 calls, complaints later, we finally find the real cause. Like you were saying, this finds that one thing, but it doesn't fix it. It gets all the context and gives you that full summary, which means better first call resolution, better experience for the users who we're fixing things for. So just wanted to
Right.
highlight.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Root cause analysis and investigation is a core part of this agent, which we actually spend a lot of time, our amazing product and engineering teams spend a lot of time trying to figure out the best way that it could be generalized. So it doesn't, it's not tied to a specific problem or category of an incident. It's generic enough that it can troubleshoot anything with best effort plus live data. And when you combine those things together with domain expertise and all the great things that ServiceNow has around incident management and change and all that stuff, what happens is we're able to now pivot from a guess and an assumption to a full determination. So with that, I'm going to show you one more thing. Now, this is where I'm going to get a little technical, right? So a lot of people ask about, well, it's great that you have this. What does it actually require to set up and actually work with? And let's pivot to the Tanium AI agent in ServiceNow. A lot of times we talk about the value and we describe what it does and all of this, but a lot of you are admins and a lot of you are users of ServiceNow. So what's important for you is one key takeaway is that configuration of this, which I'm not going to get into in detail, is controlled by a lot of guardrails. So meaning that we don't just allow anyone to do whatever they want. We will ensure that there is guardrails put in place. So as a service desk agent or an IT operations person, you only have access to things that you're supposed to have access to. Some of you are familiar with Tanium RBAC and the way that roles and permissions and personas work. And that's obviously so we can limit what type of devices, what type of things you can do with Tanium on those devices down to personas and roles and permissions. And then obviously tied to people and groups. The same concept exists in ServiceNow. We have a concept of personas in this AI agent. And what it does is it allows you to configure the right type of access. So let's say you're a person in ServiceNow. You're going to be able to do two things, right? You're going to be able to give yourself a name. So let's say, for example, Windows servers. And what this does is it allows me to configure a profile of access, basically, on people who are only allowed to work on Windows servers. So that agent won't even pop up unless you have access to working on Windows servers as a service desk agent. And within that Windows servers group, you could also have ability to limit that down to only viewing or querying and not doing actions. Um, Down to exactly what actions you want to give them access to specifically. Maybe you could do reboots, but you can't clear the cache. And so all those guardrails are built into this AI agent so people can control exactly how they want it to operate, but also respect the boundaries. And we call that bounded autonomy, right? This AI agent that we just saw and witnessed, query, troubleshoot, investigate root cause, and also it rebooted the computer to fix it. Like all of those things are what we call autonomous IT workflows or steps. There was no human interaction in that whole loop. It's a closed loop, end-to-end cycle. Then finally, you get to a point where you can actually interact with it and ask more questions. But that's what we call bounded autonomy, because autonomy is important, but it has to be controlled and bounded by guardrails.
I love that, the bounded by guardrails, because one of the biggest fears out there with anything autonomous, anything AI based, especially as we're getting used to how do we interact with this? How do we make sure it's valuable and it's not doing something crazy? Is a lot of the controls around who can do what can it do for me? So the fact that we have a lot of good, strict controls around what are we allowing this to access, what actions are we allowing it to take is fabulous.
Let's do something interesting. And for the sake of time, I'll try to do it quick. We all have MS Teams, right? And we always get, like when I work with customers, by the way, a lot of customers are using this today, which is great. And they're seeing it literally solve 95% of their entire process for them without a human at all. And the human comes into the loop where the decision has to, restart the machine or reinstall Teams or whatever. But a common thing I see is Outlook and Teams issues. My mic's not working, my audio is not working. Right? No matter what I do, it's just not working. And whatever the issue is, the great thing about Tanium is that you have thousands and thousands of packages in Tanium that can resolve problems already, right? And so all of those get imported into ServiceNow. And we use that as a way to tell the agent, hey, you have access to do all these great things with packages. And what I want you to do is analyze which package you need to go and solve this problem in this incident. So, we saw the root cause analysis last time. What I'm going to show you this time is not just that, but also the ability to take actions. Now, actions is recommended first, and then from the recommendation, we pivot to giving the human the ability to say yes to the action. At one point, when you're really confident, you don't necessarily need the human to do that, right? But for now, obviously, until you get a level of confidence, we're going to have the human in the loop until people build more confidence with decision making. Again, it's all data-driven decisions, so a lot of actions can be done without a lot of risk, like clearing the cache, for example, or downloading or reviewing logs or whatever it is. Anything that you want as an action that's low risk, you can do it fully with full autonomy. But things like rebooting a machine that's going to cause disruption, or uninstalling an app and reinstalling it that might require a reboot, like those type of things we obviously can control with our ability to do that. Alex, you remember when in the data centers you often tripped over a wire and caused an outage?
It's never happened to me personally, but I have definitely been in that atmosphere when it happened.
Right? So let me tell you why I asked. Because we are talking so much about service desk and this AI agent for incident management, which is great, right? This is the step in the door for every customer and for every partner that we work with. But the reality is, just imagine this for a second, okay? You tripped over that wire and you caused an outage, okay? Now, the reality is that in the data center, things are going to come back online, of course. But the thing is that knowing that something went down before it happened or right when it's about to happen and impact the rest of the data center, etc., because a router going down or switch going down or a server being offline could be it could be a dependency for other things, right? Like there could be other servers, there could be other applications. So you got this one server offline and you got all these things that are dependent on it. They're about to go offline. Now, what we detected is really important. Tanium can find anomalies in performance, right? So let's say all of a sudden we see the computer is offline, server is offline, whatever. That alert will create this incident, right? This incident will be open and it will tell us that there's something wrong. What I want to show you is where this really makes an impact for an organization, okay? For all of you that are managing outages. And they don't happen often, but they happen. They're inevitable, right? We have to manage outages effectively and efficiently. So what happens in this scenario is, now I know this is a bad one to actually show you because it's MS Teams, but in any scenario of an incident, when the incident is actually over in this chat, the ability to understand and predict that this is going to happen on other computers because of the pattern we just witnessed is actually part of our out of the box experience, meaning that you can now start looking at this agent kicking off as part of a predictive workflow as well and prevent the outage altogether. MS Teams on install on this computer, but have we checked the rest of the environment? Where else is this issue happening? I'm doing this one step at a time on this chat, but just imagine that outage scenario, it doesn't need a human. It says, hey, by the way, I found out that this issue is actually happening other places. Now, the first thing it would typically do is analyze incident records, which is fine. I mean, if I had the enough information in ServiceNow, it would actually tell me that there was past incidents with this. Now let's do it with Tanium. And the reason I show you this is because I want you to see the difference, right? The Tanium piece is really important. Tanium's ability to go out there and not just understand incidents that are happening, but be able to go out there and check the entire fleet in seconds for patterns that exist that are out of this incident that may have not caused those problems yet on those machines, but are still relevant, right? And so let's go ask Tanium. And what we're going to get back is a return here that tells us that there actually are other computers with Teams installed or device performance problems, and that these potentially will have issues. And so at this point, I know beforehand that before the problem happens, that we can actually fix them before they become actual outages. So, Jesh, just think about that for a second, right? If I could help you prevent an outage that costs you like 50 grand or 100 grand or $1 million or whatever as an organization, predictively prevent it altogether. And we call that incident avoidance. And I do that like 8 times a year for you. What's the return on that? Right? Like it's enormous. What do you think, Josh?
Oh, 100%. Your return on investment just for the lack of downtime is amazing. In addition to absolutely everything else, like you said, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, depending on what was going to be impacted there. Um, Saqib, this is all so amazing. I want to make sure I'm putting it together in my head right. So bounce back to you in a moment, but all of everything we've been seeing here, to get this, we just need Tanium. We have some setup, which we can shoot some docs, put them in the show notes. We get the simple setup done, and then we go into ServiceNow and we make sure everything's installed. Walk me through, is there anything special, anything fun, anything extra we need to have bought to make this happen? Or how do I get this in my environment to get that return on investment we're talking about?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's two things to really look at. You need to have the ServiceNow AI product, which is part of their offering called Now Assist. So this is obviously a requirement because everything's really built off of this. Now, outside of ServiceNow's Now Assist product, ITSM is really where everything lives, right? Which is incident management and problem management. So just make sure you have ITSM and Now Assist for ITSM. And outside of that, you need the basic Tanium platform. You need the core platform itself. And we recommend you have performance as well, which is performance helps investigation get to a level of autonomy that you just won't see without performance. So it's added context and speeds up resolution time quite a bit. And those are really the two things that you need to get started. It takes about maybe close to 15, 20 minutes once you install the agent in ServiceNow. You set up some tokens, right? And you set up a persona like we were talking about earlier. And you should start testing just the way I was doing it right now immediately. There is absolutely no configuration or customization outside of that. And you will see value immediately out of the gate.
Saqib, I love hearing that as a former performance me and someone who just in general loves system performance analysis in order to identify specific issues going on with your system. I really appreciate that plug. And all I can keep thinking is, you kept harkening back to my days back in IT and how I would chunk out my workflows, right? I'd be like, all right, now I'm in the investigation phase. Let me go gather my intel, just grab everything I think I could need. Then, boom, I have it in front of me. Now let me analyze it and try to determine what's going on. People say doctors practice medicine, right? Because it's never going to be perfect. I like to say we practice IT too, at least at a help desk where I'm pretty sure this is what's going on. So let me try this, let me try that. And having all of that work I used to do get consolidated into a chat window in a minute or two is kind of blowing my mind right now.
It's life changing for people that are in support and ops, right? And like really, it's not about taking the work away, which a lot of people talk about. It's actually about you now being able to own the exact experience for your customers. So as a support person, I would look at this and I would say, you know what? There's like 15 playbooks here that I can help automate, right? Because what ServiceNow has done is ServiceNow has built the ability for us to build with ServiceNow, not just use it, it's to build it. All of us in support now have the opportunity to be able to go out there and create use cases, maintain use cases, make this thing better over time, and help the business realize that it's no longer about working the incident, it's about building the process and experience better and better as people that offer services. So this service management world of things now turns into actual service management that is fully automated but maintained by us, controlled by us, created by us. This is the next evolution of IT operations and service desk, where we define what good looks like, and then we go and execute and build it and release it. That's the power of the ServiceNow platform, and then all of that enabled by Tanium. Just imagine, Josh, what that means.
As you're going through this, all I can think in my head is I'm like, pre this agent is the dark ages of troubleshooting. Post this agent, we've got this little agent. We have like, I don't know, some industrial revolution or some knowledge revolution worth of like, let's make things better, let's make things faster. Like you said, it's not anymore. Everything's broken all the time, and we need to just fix it to keep it up to date. We're curating the experience we want our people to have with this tech.
Right. Yeah. And last thing is that at some point, we would love people to actually do this with self-service, which will be great. And so those are some of the things that to look forward to at least is the ability to go out there and ask for help and get the help that you need without having to even create an incident. And that's directly impacting things like case deflection rates and first call resolution. The more we can do with self-service, the better. And right now, the stepping stone to that is making sure our existing process for support and IT ops is automated and autonomized in a way that AI actually has a return and value, right? Out the gate without having to wait 18 months to implement some custom AI agent to do ticket management and really has no access to live telemetry or ability to actually fix the issue. So that's it. I mean, that's all I had, and I think it's very exciting. It's free right now, and I think everyone should leverage it, test it, push it, and give us some feedback on how it's going.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saqib. Thank you, Jesh. All right. That wraps up today's deep dive into how Tanium AI agent mixed with ServiceNow, it level ups the ServiceNow experience, right? We saw how automatic triage kicks off the moment an incident lands, how Now Assist uses real-time Tanium data to guide your next steps, and how you can troubleshoot and remediate without bouncing between different consoles. And we also learned how this would have made a few of our lives way easier back in the day. So hopefully you're walking away with this with a clearer picture on how this shifts your day to day for anyone working in the queue. So your big takeaway today should be uh, better intel, fewer clicks for faster fixes, right? So when the data is live and the guidance is right, there is a work there in the workflow, you spend less time in the weeds and more time resolving issues. And kind of to just bounce off what Jesh and Saqib just said, it's less me trying to just barely maintain my entire network and keep it running, right? It's taking it to the next level, going from a standard vehicle to a luxury vehicle, making the experience more just better designed for our customers. So we've dropped all the helpful links, docs, and follow-up resources in the show notes. So be sure to check those out. And if you want to keep the conversation going, head over to the Tanium Titans community forum and let us know what you want to see next. Tanium Tech Talkers, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, and we'll see you next time on Tanium Tech Talks.
Hooray.